We met in different places, really. It was all they were preparing for the first play, Shadow and Substance, when we went in. And quite a big group that time. Do you want me to name names then?
Please, can you name a couple of names?
Yeah, there was Tomas Begley and Kitty Colbert from Ballamacoda, and Eileen Walsh, she was also Ballamacoda. My sister Nellie and Ned Harris, Jim, his brother, and Kitty McCarthy, they were the paper shop. And Joan Devine, she worked in McCarthy's paper shop, didn't she? Kathleen Heffernan and myself, and there are some others worked in the bank, names that I can't remember in the photos that I have. We went to Galari one time then to the drama festival, and we hired a bus and we went down, and the judicator was Youghal McLeamer, famous from the Abbey Theatre. But in the past, Eddie Colbert and Youghal McLeamer had some difference in Dublin, so our play came last. We struck the wrong place to go for a festival. I suppose we had to be very serious, really, when you're trying to get a play going, you know. Because then we just go off on our picnic up the Blackwater every summer. We'd let your hair down for that. And they'd bring a big bag of crew beans for the boys, you see, and sandwiches for the ladies. And the boys then would go up to the pub in Billerstown. Of course, there was no pubs for us that time. And the old ferry boat, we hired the ferry boat. One day we went up anyway, and all of a sudden the men were all active, and they said, "Stay where you are." We're stuck up in the sandbank, and we all started laughing, and they said it's a very serious matter. We didn't know how dangerous it was. So they'd get out the oars and push and shove to get us off the sandbank. Yeah. We were lucky that wasn't the end of us. See, Eddie Colbert was doing insurance in Youghal, and his sister Kitty was a great actress, and she cycled in from Ballamacoda for rehearsals. And then Eileen Walsh, she was in attendance in St. Raphael's. Usually then people coming to the bank would join us. They weren't actually coming in from any place, they were staying in Youghal. And all the photographs were taken when we went on the picnics. We never had any social side otherwise. And myself, Ita Kirk, was first left, and then Ned Harris, Kieran Nolan, Sean Rogers, he was a clerk in Joe Broderick's Drapers, Con Hurley, Claire O'Brien, you know, her daughter's the Island Gate, and Jim Harris, and Mrs. Albert Cole, I can't think of her name now. And there was Michael Murray and Albert Cole, and some lad that worked in the bank, two other blokes that I can't place. O'Neill, another one, Kathleen Heffernan, and Eileen Walsh. She had the shop out the Strand. So Betty Doyle, she was from De Valera Street. She was the Cannon's housekeeper in Shadow and Substance, I remember. Another girl then, I think she was in the bank. And Nellie, my sister, and Teresa Gowrie, myself, Ned Harris, I think that's Ned O'Brien, Claire's husband, Con Keogh, Rogers, what's his name now again? Charlie Flavin. Charlie was a great actor and a great memory. He could quote all the plays as he went along. Joe Hallisey, Tom Begley, and then up at the back was Eddie Colbert. And Kitty Colbert, I mentioned Kitty. We had a grand group. We were always very happy together. But, you know, others came, and that's the original lot anyway, and others came and went over the years. It is nice to think it was going to be revived after all these years. I don't know really when the last play took place. So hopefully now that they'll revive and have a play for the Golden Jubilee, which they hope to produce, Shadow and Substance. So we'll be going down memory lane.
Hey, well, I think it was around about 1968
when I became a member. And at the time, you had to be sort of asked if you'd like to join. It wasn't a case of that you could go down and join, but anyway, I was asked to go in, and I did. And I wouldn't be as good now as Ita at remembering, but I do know that I think I was in Juno and the Paycock in the Little Theatre, and there at the time all the they were all held in the town hall as we knew it then. But I do remember going out to the Bush, I think it was called, out in Quarry Road, and there was, what was her name? I think Nuala Casey, and there was some gentleman, I think she was married to a guy called Morris, and we used to actually rehearse out there. And I was very young, back in 1968, and I remember it was the first time I saw people drinking wine. Sherry, my mother used to drink, but they were drinking wine, and it was all very, very modern and very sociable and very nice and lovely. I remember the main characters I remember in the Little Theatre for me at that time was Albert Cole and Con Hurley. They were the two. And I think I remember Tommy Curtin as a very, very young lad taking part as a young lad in one of the productions, but don't ask me the name of it. I can remember one particular part that I played, don't ask me what it was, but Connie Hurley was in it, and I know I had to come on stage with eggs in a bag, in a paper bag, in a brown paper bag. We didn't have plastic bags in those days, and it was in a brown. And I was very angry with him in this part that I was playing, and he was sitting with his back to me, and I was to catch the bag, the brown bag with the eggs, and bait it on top of his head. And the idea was that the eggs would break, as they should, and that all the goo would come down over his face. And it worked most nights, but this particular night I went in, and I think it was 3 eggs were in the bag, and I belted the bag on top of the head, and nothing happened. No egg came out, and of course we were waiting, so I belted it again. And I couldn't get the eggs to break, so I belted it a 3rd time, and perhaps a 4th actually. And 2 things happened. First of all, the eggs broke the 4th time, and Connie Hurley put his hand up, and he had a lump in his head from the belting. But more than that, Canon Sheehan was in the front seat, in the front row, as the clergy always sat that time in the front row, and he got a glob of yolk right straight across. It was his face it went on, and the whole play stopped. The actual play, we couldn't continue because he stood up and he was trying to wipe himself. The people on stage lost their lines, and the people in the audience started laughing. And then Connie Hurley killed me. For so long afterwards, he'd say to me, "Don't you ever again hit me 4 times on the head." He was very cross with me. He was sore after it. And I still remember that incident. And if I met him to this day, I think he would too. We had great fun. Not as much fun now as Ita had swimming up the river, but we had great fun as well. We had our parties in the Devonshire Arms, the old Devonshire Arms. That's where we'd have our parties. And it would be on the closing night. And I think it was always only 3 nights they ran for. It seemed to be an awful lot of work for 3 nights, but they were great audiences. I think it was Albert Cole, for me now, if I remember correctly. Albert Cole was very, very, and he was strict. He was down the line. You had to be rehearsals, and you had to be in your gear, and you had to do everything. It had to be done right, and he would redo it and redo it and redo it until you got it right. You know, he was very, not strict isn't the wrong word. He was a perfectionist, I suppose, really, one would call him. And Con Hurley, of course, was very involved as well that time. He was great fun. He was always cracking jokes. He was very good. I speak about him now, but I know he's still a great character in the town, you know. But they were good days. They were great days.
Well, I always loved going to live shows, especially local shows, and Sean O'Neill, a great director, he's put on other shows, and I realised that this guy was in town, and I showed him, and he could see the talent we have. So, so I'm now branching back to the Youghal Little Theatre, because I thought it was non-existent, and to discover that it is in existence, but they weren't really doing shows. But now we're actually going to literally put on shows, and as I say, Rand Freegan is going to produce the show, even though as well as it's his own play, he produced it and wrote it, and so we're going to all systems go after our launch. Anybody that have old photographs, and we'd love to get them put them on display for the launch. So we need to get the memorabilia in first beforehand, and which I've got a nice view from Mother here already, and I know other people would certainly have them. So I've had a good chat with John Kennedy as well inside in the gossip shop, and gave us a lot of information. He's delighted that we're actually going about relaunching Youghal Little Theatre again. And even people that never been on stage, they don't even necessarily have to be. We're not looking for the actors. We're looking for people that hands-on on the committee, on the floor, backstage, front of house. Everybody. This Youghal Little Theatre is about Youghal community, and and I'm all for community to get people involved. And I certainly think that it will be I know it will be a great success. I just don't think it, because of the talent that's presently here, and there certainly is, that give the opportunity for young people to come up and get involved as well, so that Youghal Little Theatre will be up and be as strong as ever, as it was even in the past, because it was very, very strong. I've seen shows back in the 70s myself, and they were absolutely superb. Albert Cole, I think I remember when he doing Dracula in one of the shows, and Lord save us, he was as good as any Hollywood actor. And the thing about there is plenty more out there. And but our main and another it's a dream, I know, but it can happen. The Regal Cinema, for instance, it is there. It's an ideal to be an ideal centre as an academy for acting. So like that would be my thought, an idea, going to the committees. That and I've actually had a couple of chats with the councils already. Hopefully that they will be able to go after whatever funds are available. But it's down the road. The main thing is get the shows on in the story, get the people in to enjoy the shows, and once we have the interest, and I know from past experience running or promoting other shows, the amount of people that actually travel from out of town, and so like it's not just Youghal town, it's East Cork, it's West Waterford, so we're going about, as I say, to get all the the present members, past and present, and new members to this launch, please God, in the new year, and we're trying to get memorabilia to get our old photographs. So if anybody has old photographs, please forward them on to myself or Liam, and we will enlarge them and put them on display. And of course, going into the community centres, there's lovely posters also of past plays. You have a Facebook page up, Youghal Little Theatre, so if anybody would like to click on it, go into my own page, or Youghal Little Theatre, and I get your name there that you just like it, and I can get you in as an administrator, and you can get all the latest in. There's nothing really on it yet, there's only just a couple of Youghal photographs, because we haven't really taken it. We're taking it every one step at a time, and as I say, we're delighted that yourselves are getting it out there as well, and radio.